Okay, so let's start going through this scene. Since we're doing a recipe game, I thought to do something that had multiple ingredients in it. So something I really enjoy is a stew. So I just wanted to do something really simple and have the player make a stew from all the ingredients that you have over here. And I didn't go very detailed with the assets. I didn't really need to. As long as I got the functionality, I could always make more detailed assets later and it would still function. So I'm going to quickly run through the components that are in here. Basically, you have your ingredients. You have 6 of them. You have water, your potatoes, your meat of whatever kind you want to, your carrots, your celery, and your peas. And then you have a pot that you're going to put everything into, cook it up, make a dank stew. And then you have your HUD, which is going to tell you which ingredient that you're working on and that you need to work on before you get to the next one. So when you make stew, you have your water and your potatoes and then your beef, and then you add in your vegetables later so that they don't get super soggy. So there's definitely an order that you would make soups and stews, and you do the harder things first. You do your potatoes and your beef, and then you do your vegetables. So you'd start with your water, and then all your starchy goodness, and then down to the end to the things that are a lot softer. And all of it goes in the pot, and you just wait. So the HUD that you have right here is going to tell you which ingredient that you're going for. So you just go in order. And if you're on the first one, the water is going to pop up, and then the potatoes and all those things as they go into the pot, these will pop up. And then once you get all of them in, it gives you complete, and you have a nice stew right here. That's basically all there is to that little part. So I set this up. Let's run through the blueprints here quick. So I needed to be able to pick up an object from a certain distance away, but it needed to be based on the camera. So you've seen in games where you have like a little glove that pops out and you can pick it up. Like when you're doing stuff with VR, you can see a little hand and you can pick up stuff. That's kind of what needed to happen. But so I took the camera, got its location, and told it to trace a line from that starting location. And then I needed an endpoint. It needed to go out from the camera, so I needed the forward vector from the camera. And then I just added an amount to it and put that as the end, so now I have the start and end points of the line that needs to be traced. And then I basically I broke up the hit results, so whatever object that was hit, I needed to determine, is it simulating physics, so I can pick it up and drop it later on. And if it is, cool, continue. If not, just do nothing. But before that, I need to check if I actually hit anything first. So if I hit, check. If I did hit something, check, is it simulating physics? If it is, then awesome. We can continue on, we can actually grab that component. So, but we need to tell it where to get that component. So we just grab the component's world location and pick it up from there. So let's go down here. We have 2 things that we need to do. We need to be able to pick up, and we need to be able to drop. So we need 2 functions, drop and pick up. So the drop event's really easy. You just release a component from the physics handle, and then you just set, if you're holding the object, to I'm not holding the object, so it's 0. And then the next one is holding your object, and that's just plugged into here. So all this stuff that's happening is to actually hold the object. So you grab it and you pick it up, and you just tell it that you are holding the object now. And that's right here. So if you pick it up, you are holding. If you drop it, you're no longer holding. And that needs to be checked when you press the button to actually pick up or drop. So if I am holding something and I click F, I'm going to drop it. If I am not holding something and I want to pick it up and I press F, I will pick it up then. So it just branches to these 2 functions. And then just to make sure that the actual thing will follow us, you just get the location of some point that you want to actually hold it to. So the actual line is only used to determine if I actually can pick up something. Other than that, it's just a static location that moves with us based on our camera movement to actually tell us where it's going to be put. And you can see that here. If I click on this little sphere, not the sphere, the hold location, you can see the object's actually going to be placed out here. So I shoot the line, and then when I pick it up, it's going to be placed out here. And I'll show you that in just a sec. So that's basically all that happened in here. And then you just need to actually create the your user interface. So I just create the HUD here, and I add it to the viewport. And I just chose the food HUD, the one that I created over here. So that's all that's happening in the first-person character, I think. Yeah. And then in the pot, it's pretty simple. So each food has a type. Yeah, let me open that up actually. So I just have a sphere in here, and I have an attribute called food type, and it's an enumeration, so I can tell it what type I want out of those 6. And that's all that's in here actually. There's nothing crazy about it. And then in the pot, I convert that to an array so that I can loop through and I can check some steps. So I need a current step. I'm going to start on 0, which is your first step. It's easy to set it to 0 because arrays start at 0. They're indexed from 0 to 1 less than the amount of things in the array. So if my array starts at 0, I want the first step to be at 0. So the default is 0, and that's nice. So I start with my current step is 0, which means that I can add the water to the pot. And I can't add anything else to the pot if it's not water. So if it is water, cool, I can add it to the pot. If not, I can't add it. So, but I do that by I pick it up. I can pick anything up, but I can't toss it into the pot. So I just look at the overlap and I cast to the food that I'm dropping in. And if it is, so I check the food type, and if it's equal to, if the current step is equal to the food type that I have, so I'd start with water at 0. The 0 index of this array would be water. So if they equal each other, then I can go ahead and I can up the current step because I passed it, and then I just destroy the actor. So I know that I'm on the next step. I can add potatoes, and then beef, and then carrots, celery, and peas, and so on until you're done. So that's all that's happening in here. And then I just print it out so I know which step I'm on. I could go further into the HUD and say, I'm on step 2, so display beef or potatoes. And I could just make it happen like that with an array. Same thing I could do. I could make an enumeration, and then I could just tell it which step, and then just display that as a string. I could just print. Actually, I could just do it here, but I don't have that set up. I could do that later, but that could be something you could do in the HUD. You could reference that kind of thing. And then let's go into the graph here. So I don't want everything to be visible from the start. I want the things to pop up as you're on that step. So if I'm on the water step, I want the water to show up to tell you that you need to add water first. So grab the water and then put it in. And then once you put the water in, potatoes show up. It tells you that you need to put in the potatoes now. All the way until you get to everything in the pot, and then at that point you're complete, and you get this nice image of a little stew. And the way I did that was I just referenced the pot, got the food step, and then it said this one's for water. So water is the first step, indexed at 0. So if I said if the number is equal to 0, then it's true, make it visible. If it's not 0, make it hidden. And then that's all that there was to it. And I just did the same thing, but I just changed the number for each one because they happen at different steps. So let me run through this real quick and I'll show you. So I know that water is the first one, so I can pick it up and I can put it into the pot. Boop, done, easy. Water is set up. But maybe I want to add the beef next, so I'm going to pick it up. Cool. But I can't add it to the pot because I'm not on that step yet. I need to do the potatoes. So the beef won't go in, none of these will go in, but potatoes will go in. Boop. And you can see right there that the 2 popped up on the screen to show me that I'm on that step. I'm on the 3rd step now, actually, because I started at 0. And it goes all the way up until you're completely done. And now I'm on the last step, and that's basically it. Unfortunately, though, something's happening where I can read the value of it, of which step I'm on, but only the water is showing up. Everything else has the same exact coding. It should function correctly, but just nothing else shows up. If I wanted, it should show up with each thing popping up at each step, and then I would get this at the very end to show that I'm complete. But unfortunately it didn't happen that way. But this is all that I have for this. Super simple game, just to show the functionality of how you can get things to look like they're going into a pot, like you're making a stew, and how to get some information about it at which step, and to kind of guide the player into doing things in the way that you want them to by limiting action to which step you're on. So that's basically it. Hope you enjoy.